So this is a charcoal drawing of a still life I did, and this is the combination of things I put together, including a pillowcase with a pattern on it, which just to add a bit of interest. So I decided to draw it from two different perspectives, Cezanne inspired. This is the first section I decided to do, which is of, I decided to do the foreground first, and then I've got that little step up to the background. So this is me sitting down, looking at it from one perspective, and I decided to do the jug and I think, yes, 2 apples and a bit of the pillowcase. So.
And you used a book to raise up to create 2 levels. There's quite a thick book under for the second layer.
That's right, and that's where I put that little plant on. So yeah, it was just really to make it a bit more interesting, and I think the level was important for the cloth, otherwise you wouldn't have had as many folds or as many different aspects to it. So I didn't want it too complicated as well. I just wanted to enjoy it, and especially trying out 2 perspectives was, trying to make it a bit more interesting. So I just use soft willow charcoal, so easy to smudge.
And it's good because you can see, because your aim isn't to create, because you're trying to create a sort of distorted, picture, obviously you've kind of gone into this first drawing with that in mind, and so the jug isn't.
That's right, the jug is totally off the wrong angle, and I was like, well, that's good. Just add it to the distortion. So, yeah, it didn't matter. And I think that makes it quite a bit more fun as well. So the aim is that
the cloth adds, doesn't it?
It does.
To the not the confusion, but the interest and the.
It's kind of, you don't quite know what you're looking at is the aim, and I guess that's what a lot of the Cezanne stuff was like. It was, you think you're looking at one perspective, and then you're looking at another, and then but the whole thing still has to work as a painting. So. Yeah.
And this exercise just gives you an easy way to create something like that by literally going from one perspective to another perspective rather than trying to do it in your head.
Yeah, that's right. So, I just literally sat down and did this bit, and then I'm going to stand up in a little bit once I finish my faffing around with the front bit. And then, I wasn't quite sure how. I was like, do I do the detailed pattern? But I think I needed a bit of pattern on that cloth.
And I think it's a good combination of objects as well. You've got the apples, which if you just had apples, it wouldn't have worked as well. But
you can't really distort an angle of an apple.
No, you can't. But having the folds of the cloth and the jug, which clearly, if you're looking at a jug from front on or from over the top.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's worked really well, and creating those 2 levels. That example from the last exercise of Cezanne's is a really good one to see why we've sort of gone for this.
And it's interesting because when you do look at, and we should probably put a picture in of the image we're talking about.
Yep, so this is Cezanne's Still Life with Plaster Cupid, and you can go to see our previous exercise to copy this one.
So that was my inspiration for this one, and probably have to look a bit more closely at that particular image. You can always go back and pause and have a look at the different perspectives that kind of show up on that image. But this is me carrying on doing my first perspective, and now I'm moving on to the second. So I've stood up, so it's all going to look at, all the objects will be at different angles, and I'm going to draw now the back portion of the still life. So that's on top of the little plant on top of the book, and there's an apple on there as well. So,
and I think what's important is that you are close enough to the still life so that when you sit down it's quite a different angle to when you stand up, because if you were too far away
it wouldn't make that big a difference.
It wouldn't make as big a difference. So I think that's kind of fairly important to note, because you do want to be looking down on it, not just standing up.
Yeah, that's right.
Slightly above it. So
so this is I just kind of get stuck into the folds and the angles and looking down. Apples are quite nice to draw, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I guess you do have the stem of the apple, so you you can look at it from a different perspective. It's not as obvious, but
No, it's not.
it's mainly this bit I'm drawing now of the plant where you can see right inside the pot. And it's more of a circular than an elliptical shape.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't go into too much crazy detail. And I certainly didn't try and do it accurately. I quite enjoyed how it looked a bit distorted as well.
Yeah, and it's just a straightforward process for doing a distorted still life, isn't it? To
It is when
sit
you're not
down, then stand up.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I agree. And then you can always experiment further and do a few other variations of perspectives. You can walk around. You can imagine walking around the still life and drawing it from a very different angle, especially things, still life objects that aren't circular. Because obviously
Doesn't work as well.
that doesn't really show a difference.
And that's why Cezanne's Cupid works well, because, the body,
Has a definite front, back, side. Yeah. I agree. So, but this was, I really enjoyed doing this. I wasn't sure when I first sat down to do it. I was thinking, how's this going to work? But it was quite fun. And because you're wanting a different perspective, I drew bits at the wrong angle, and, that plant pot overlapped the apple, which it didn't when I was looking at it. But that didn't matter, because the whole point is that it's a distorted, not supposed to all fit perfectly together kind of drawing.
And I think as long as you don't have too definite an idea before you get started, you'll be fine. And just if things overlap, just let them overlap. And
yeah, I agree. And just go with the flow and enjoy it and scribble along. I mean, charcoal's great because you can just smudge over bits that don't quite look like they're working, and it gives you that. Charcoal just gives you that extra element of surprise where you accidentally smudge a bit and you're like, oh, actually, that looks all right.
There's less work involved using charcoal.
Well, you can shade in more, can't you?
You rub your finger over and you've created a whole load of stuff that you can't.
Yeah, this is, I did work on it a little bit more on the jug. I thought it didn't look as obvious enough, I think. I wanted to make sure you could distinctly see the jug and the apple and the plant. Yeah, so I just kept going with that. Although I guess I could have sat down and carried on, couldn't I? That would have been another option.
Yeah, you could have.
Keep sitting down, standing up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could do that. Yep. I like it.
So, is this me done?
I think it's...
I look pretty happy with this.
Yeah.
And here's the end result.